Welcome to the dojo, baby.
This is Jodo.
This podcast is brought to you by Emotional
This is
Damage.
Jodo.
Welcome to the Zoom food.
Yeah. Step and wipe your feet. This a focus.
Welcome everybody to the Zoom Food. I am your Sensei Sifu Josiah, and today we're gonna discuss honesty and courage. Today our panelists include Meenakshi Gautam and then Karina. Is it Cruz? So honesty and courage. I want to begin with this. Yesterday, my friend Alejandro was doing a class. He studies like all the religious books, and then he teaches like a course. And he was talking about the balance between learning and action. And like sometimes we think we gotta prepare and over prepare, and then we never like actually take enough action in order to get the results done. But sometimes we like take action, and we don't reflect. And if you don't reflect and tweak and adjust, then you're gonna crash out. You're gonna crash and burn, and then you might just give up. It's like it's too much. It's too hard. So right now I sound like a homeless person because they be yelling out here in the downtown area. They just be yelling, just random shit. Like so that right there. It takes honesty and courage to first take action. When you're afraid, when you don't know something, when you don't know that you got guaranteed results, it takes courage and it takes honesty to reflect and to say, oh damn, like I've been doing this over and over. I've been knocking my head against the wall 57 times. I need to reflect, read a book, take a walk, and just think this through. Do a little meditation. So I'd like to begin with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's key. It's actually like something I was talking to someone about earlier, just with what I do like professionally in terms of just like business, how important your thoughts are with like how they dictate the day, especially like as soon as you wake up in the morning. Like me, whenever I don't wake up and like read a book or like wake up to meditate or like wake up to not first thing grab my phone, is like you get like bombarded. I literally feel like sometimes I have too many tabs open in my head. And even when I look at someone's computer, I don't know if this bothers anybody else, but have you ever looked at someone's computer and they have like 20 tabs at the top of like their thing? That is one of my biggest pet peeves. But I feel like that's sometimes how our mind works. When you're not clearing it out and when you don't pick out and decide, all right, which one of these I'm not using, which one of these I don't need. Like it's like you literally have the visual of like what that looks like. It's like when you have a whole bunch of tabs open. All of these different thoughts, some serving you, some not serving you. So I think like having some type of routine to like filter your thoughts, regardless if like you do business or anything, I think that's just a life skill that nobody teaches. It's something that you kind of like learn over time or learn from somebody that you know. But like, obviously don't teach this kind of stuff in school or even in college or, a lot of places. But I think that's like a life skill. Like imagine if, you were in high school, middle school, being taught how to like, master your thoughts or, be able to control that. Like how much more would you have accomplished by now had we learned something like that just earlier in life? Crazy.
Yeah, I also feel a similar way. I think honesty and courage both go hand in hand. When we learn to be dishonest just to be more likable, we start being dishonest with ourselves as well. We never go back and check with our feelings. And sometimes what we are avoiding is not the honesty or the reflection from work. It's from within ourselves. Many times we know what we are not doing, what we are supposed to do. But when we keep our day busy, it kind of takes your brain away from that, something that you would love to avoid. But we know from inside, we know the truth that I need to go back to these things that I've been avoiding. For example, health is something that everyone who's not paying attention to and they're prioritizing their work, each day they know that I have not spent enough time on my health, and I will start going to the gym from tomorrow, or when the work will get lighter, when something like this when my day will look like this. And you keep delaying until that action becomes inevitable, that no, now I need to prioritize my health. So do I have the courage to protect that? Do I have the courage to take out time despite my schedule is busy? Because I know for the fact that I go to the gym not because it's good for my health, because I don't have an option. At some point of time, I will have to hit the gym. I will have to prioritize my health. Today, I can take a chance, and that's what honesty and courage is all about. If you are honest to yourself, do you have courage to take the action today? Do you have the courage to face what is real, not 5 years later, but today? And that's where people confuse that your action or your motion. Action is you're doing things, but motion is something which actually brings result. And you need to go back to check whether your actions are aligned or not, just to make sure that your motion is in forward direction.
Yeah, yeah. So when it comes to the gym, time is now, Meenakshi.
Bye bye. I'm going to the gym. It's now.
Time is now. But yeah, to time this to the previous topic of love and money and energy. I saw a video this morning about being open with your good and your bad traits. Because if you're constantly like only showing people your best, like especially those people who you want to be close to you, then that there's no room there for like acceptance, you know? So like the video was talking about showing people like the sides you're working on as well, and the sides that you're not trying to work on either. And then that leaves room for acceptance. And if that person loves you anyway, then that's a good match. So that's yeah.
What's so funny is somebody cracking jokes besides you.
No, like some random dude in a cane like starts thinking all you need is love. It's like all you need is love. That was good. But so tying this back to money and energy, money and love. You know, I 3 months three
I
months
think you
ago,
forgot what you were saying.
3 months ago, I was negative in the bank. I was so negative. And I had just enough to come here to San Diego and get me a flight and a rental car. And I'm still in shock right now about what's happened in the past 3 months. I've broken like every single and like many times over, like my income thresholds, my like bank account thresholds, and expanded my horizons over 5 or 6 times higher than I've ever have. And so this next segment, I would like to discuss the power of positive thinking when it comes to, I mean, not positive thinking, yeah, yes, positive, but yet the magic of thinking big. When it comes to, for example, we are all one opportunity away from 10xing everything, and we might not even believe that ourselves. I had no idea this was gonna happen here, but it did. So like, but I spent 1 month just taking walks and reading Magic of Thinking Big, You're a Badass. And then there was another other book that I started reading, and just going on walks and just expanding my mind and expanding, like making it bigger, like my thinking. And it's like, how far can I go? How much can I make? And then long behold, I was thinking about coming to this opportunity. It kind of just happened, and then I'm here. I'm here at a much higher place than I've ever been. So that's the reflection part. And then the action part is just trusting the process, and then just taking action and doing it. So I would like to hear from you guys, see if you had a similar experience at some point. And if not, what do you think that it hasn't happened? What may be blocking you from that happening?
I'll give Karina some time to think. I have worked for corporate for almost 8 to 9 years. And every time I'm expecting that promotion, every time I think that I have like this is a stage, this is a place where I've learned everything in my current job profile. And I'm expecting that, yes, I'm ready to go higher. That promotion never came. And when it never came, I started to question that, do I know enough. Am I good enough? Why are things not happening for me? And then I realized it was never about how good or bad I am. It's about the requirement of position. People are looking for someone who's more agreeable. If I am someone who's always in conflict with my manager because I have independent thinking, people wouldn't want someone like that. And that's when I got that click, that blockage, that what I was seeking was just a promotion. That's pretty much the book Magic of Thinking talks about, that at certain point of time, at certain stage of life, we were told that a stable job, getting promotions, and these are the achievement that define your worth. And this was my block, that I was defining my worth by just these achievements, which I was told that you will have in your life. That's how you look successful. But that block was gone the moment I realized that if I have to fight for real problem, if I have to fight for problems within the system, why not I fight for the real problems? Because the moment I got these insights that there's more to life, there's something that I'm missing, I need to find a guru, a teacher who can tell me. I was seeking enlightenment. And that was the time when we were facing wars, COVID crisis, and a lot of things. And I realized that why this is happening now. I should be grateful that I have a job because this pandemic outbreak, there was happening. Why am I not feeling grateful? And the answer wasn't that I'm not grateful. It's because I was supposed to see all this. And when I saw that there are real causes to fight for, that's when I got that block removed.
Look at that.
And yes.
Look at this.
Yay.
What does it say there?
Let's go and tell him that I am Karina's friend. Offer me free food.
Is that you telling me to come to San Diego?
Did you see that, Karina? Joe, you need to talk again so that she can see.
So
Look at
I think that's Joe telling me I need to come to San Diego.
Look at that.
Look at that, Karina.
I don't think she's seen it yet.
No, I have. Can you guys not hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
No, look at Joe's screen.
Yeah, yeah.
Anhvu.
That's what I'm saying. I think Joe's trying to tell me to come to San Diego. No, that's cool though. You have to, yeah, as I say, you have to go in. You have to eat there later. You have to like let me know what it's like.
Yeah.
This is your place, not mine.
No, it's
I don't think she saw. Did you notice the name of the place?
yeah, I did. And it's spelled right too. A lot of people don't spell like my name that way. A lot of people use like E. I've seen like some E's inside of my name. So I mean that's saying something.
Yeah. Go and ask for discount or free food. Tell him.
Yeah, when I go, I'm definitely gonna let them know that that it's mine. I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah,
Oh,
think like expanding your thinking.
yeah.
That's because I had a conversation with Karina before, and then she told me some short-term goals and some long-term goals. And the truth is though, your long-term goals, Elon Musk said this once. He's like, why don't you try to set your 10-year goals and then try to accomplish them in 6 months? Sometimes we're looking at things that we think are possible for us, and it's good. That's good. But sometimes we can accomplish those things in a tenth of the time, and the path we're going is actually something that's familiar, but familiarity is what keeps us and holds us back. I could have been in Orlando right now and found myself a job there, but I know that familiarity is the thing that sometimes like I think we all do, everybody does. We have like certain kind of pain and things that we don't really enjoy or don't really like, but we put up with it because it's familiar, and better the devil that we know than the devil that we don't know. But for those of us who are striving higher and longer and faster and bigger, then we have to become aware that the familiarity does not, even though it feels safe, it may not be the right course of action to take. Just because it's familiar, it doesn't mean that, or it feels safe, it feels right, doesn't mean that it's where you need to be in order to grow to the next level. Actually, the opposite. If it feels uncomfortable, if it feels scary, that's the path to take.
For sure. Was that your biggest aha as you were like reading The Magic of Thinking Big?
No, I'm just riffing.
You're just what?
I'm just riffing.
Oh, riffing. They said reffing. I'm like, that's a new one. I've never heard of that one. But so going back to your question, and I think it's funny you say that with just like familiarity and everything. I was just thinking about the book, and there's like I don't remember exactly what part of the book, but I always remember the word it talked about like excusitis, right? You know, like the itis of making excuses. And that was something that was always like so profound to me in the book. And just as I listen to it, I always think back of like points in times where like, you know, the magic of thinking big felt magical, you know, because that's really what the books kind of helps you recognize. It's not anything that we've never done before. You know, I think a lot of times a lot of us have thought big, we just maybe never realized it. So I always sit back and reflect, okay, what are like moments in my life where like my thinking got me to a place that almost felt like magical, that almost felt like, wow, like I can't believe that this is happening. But at some point, your thoughts align in order for that current reality, whatever it might be, to feel like what it is. So I've definitely can pinpoint times where like, you know, that's happened for me, but it was very like unconscious. Like I didn't recognize I was doing it. Now I feel like I'm in a season where like I'm like conscious competent, you know, where it's like now just having to just be intentional in those things. And sometimes that's I don't want to say the hardest season because that's a lie. I don't necessarily think it's hard, but some you have to think long enough, big enough for it to actually work. And like when you're in that season, it's like you have to just have like the constant reminders, which is why I listen to the same books and you listen to all the same things multiple times because it helps you think long enough, big enough. I feel like a lot of people kind of get tricked out of their spot by like, man, there's a time where it's like you stop thinking so big and it's like, boom, the familiarity and the contentment set in, you know, because it's like, man, you just stop thinking big. But as soon as you just keep your thinking, continue to expand it, continue to have it big enough, like pouring into a regular. Like I have on my phone that says, you know, it's a full-time job believing in yourself. There's no days off. Like that's so true. I wake up every morning and like I read that. You know, it's a full-time job believing in yourself. And it seems hard until it feels magical. Until it's like, oh wow, it actually worked. And then I feel like once that moment comes, it doesn't really seem hard though. You know, it's like and now so now I feel like I'm in a season where it's like I'm conscious of it. So once that moment magical hits, oh, it's like it's game over. Like the cheat code's unlocked. And I've had definitely like magical moments. And I feel like they're all about to combine together to be something like incredible that looks like over exciting.
Yeah, and familiarity also it kind of puts you to sleep. So
Yeah.
what I got from what came to me when you were talking is that like that's why if you go to a Tony Robbins concert, like a Tony Robbins event, he's doing the most to shock you out of your hypnosis.
Yeah.
So in what ways? Here's the question for the panel. In what ways can we shock ourselves out of familiarity so that we can begin thinking bigger and stronger? Bigger, more clear, in a way that we can see reality as it is, and not within the context of conformity.
One of the biggest things that comes to me is like your environment, you know, like changing of your environment is like so key. And Tony Robbins also talks about like your internal environment, like your external environment, and then like your internal environment. He talks a lot about how he like mastered changing his internal environment by being able to like, you know, change and manipulate his vibration, you know, and with a whole bunch of different ways. So that's one way. And then like your external environment, like just putting yourself in different places. I've definitely been really intentional about changing like my external environment. And that has helped it make it easier to change like the internal environment. Like for example, we all may be in different places, but like all of us here talking is like it's a change of environment, you know, because of it's kind of helping us more like internally. That was the first thing that popped into my mind. I'm sure someone will say something and something else will pop in.
Robin.
I feel like we can use familiarity in our favor. So, what is familiar feels safe. So, in yogic philosophy, when we practice in a slower form of yoga, so you might have seen there are a lot of forms of yoga. One is Zen yoga, which is extremely slow. Then we have Hatha yoga. Then we have Ashtang. Then we have Vinyasa, which is like really fast and flowy. But when you begin learning yoga, we start from Hatha yoga, which is very form of practice. You know why we practice lower form of yoga? So that your brain becomes familiar with the movement. So if familiarity is the key, you don't have to shock your system to learn something new. You need to introduce little micro information. You've got to keep feeding your brain little bit of information so that your brain isn't shocked. It's like, oh, I know this. Oh, I've been there. So when you introduce that little bit of familiarity, it doesn't shock your system. It still feels safe for you. And still, you're thinking big, you're growing. For example, if you go to a learning seminar and instead of applying everything that you learn from the seminar, just take one thing at a time. Something that you have learned, implement it today and keep practicing it, then introduce the second thing so that it still feels familiar to you and you will continue to grow from there.
I think I appreciate that perspective, but I disagree. No, I'm just playing. No, I think that
I totally knew it that you wouldn't agree with that.
no, so I see it as two strategies. There are two different strategies, and I think it's perfectly described by the pool analogy, where like what I described was, hey, you got two ways of jumping in the water. You can just jump in, or you can dip your feet for 37 minutes, and that's what you're describing. You know, I say just jump in the pool, but however, to validate your point, I think sometimes it is useful because I've done it before. If you feel extra scared sometimes about something or super uncomfortable, it's okay to dip your feet in for 37 minutes. You know, it's fine. Like you got to do what you got to do to get started. And to further support this, my father, he was he's out of shape. He has some heart trouble, and I was like, hey, Pa, you got to start working out. And he's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, why don't you start with one push-up a day, you know? And then he started with one push-up a day. He just said he started doing it. So, and then he got up to, right now he does like 40 push-ups a day because he started with one. The next day he did one. The next day he did one. And then the fourth day he did two. And then he just increased the numbers every day. So, you know, when it comes to big thinking, I feel like you do have to shock your system. But if we do want to have gradual improvement, we got to implement both strategies.
So what you're describing is the initial stage, like what you're saying, that two ways to dip into water. One is like you dip your feet for 37 seconds. If you have never done dipping for 37 seconds, you cannot take that step sometime. A lot of people are able to take that, you know, the shock thing because they still find it slightly little bit familiar. Like if you talk to a person who have never been to a 12-story building, it's less likely they are going to do skydiving straight. But somebody who lives on 200th floor and you tell him that, hey, let's go skydiving, though it's an extreme step, skydiving is an extreme step, but this person is highly likely to say yes because he's familiar of heights already. So what you are describing, that taking that extreme shock. So for example, in my business, I'm just selling a program for 10,000 US dollar. For me, making money sounds familiar in my business. Now I want to sell $100,000 offer. This is something where I can shock my system, not from zero to $100,000. That's extremely scary for me because I will be investing money in ads, everything, and I will always have that fear that whether I'm going to lose, and that fear is going to create that negative energy, that negative manifestation of something that I'm looking forward to. So safe failures or attempting big, it's about how lessen you do that gap. It's not from zero, going from 0 to 100 straight, but yeah, from 20, yes, I can jump to 100.
Yes. Okay, let's do an intermission to welcome Monica to the Zoom.
Hello, Monica, the love genie.
Maybe
The shop.
she could be walking and just listening in. So, you know, that's fine too, Monica. Just, you know, let us know if you want to chime in at some point. But yeah, so let's do it. Let's do a little Meenakshi. Why don't you tell us a dad joke, or Karina, tell us a dad joke to make us familiar, like to make us like do a little bit of a pleasure break, just a little dad joke for pleasure.
Oh, I can do one. What do you call?
Go ahead.
What do you call bee's knee?
Okay, let's go to Karina because that joke. No, I'm just playing. No, what do you? Your delivery. Please start over. That delivery was not good. Let's start. Okay, now introducing Meenakshi Gautam with the dad joke of the day. All right, go.
Oh, I forgot. Let's go to Karina first. I'll think of something else.
All right, so I don't know any dad joke, but I asked Claude. So Claude is gonna be my personal assistant. And this might be my outro because I do have a meeting here in like 10 minutes. So this dad joke is gonna be my outro. Why don't skeletons fight each other?
Skeletons?
Yeah, why don't skeletons fight each other? Because they don't have the guts. That would be my outro. I actually hate dad jokes. Like like I think they are actually terrible. But that's the point, you know? That is 100% the point. But I never really understood I never understood where dad jokes come from.
Okay, let's hear Meenakshi's joke now.
I totally forgot, but I'll try to remember this.
He said, "What is business?"
Yeah, what do you call it? But you won't understand. It's a little Indian thing. Why do we spell dark with a K but not with the C? Why do we spell dark, D-A-R-K, dark with a K but not C?
Because
Because we can't see in the dark.
I got it. That's a good one. See,
Joe loves dad jokes.
I think the balance in a good dad joke is like knowing your audience and then knowing like who's this? Yeah, sent to voicemail. It's like making it easy enough to get, but still hard enough that you gotta think about it. Like, I think the point of it is you gotta make somebody think. So that's a perfect one, I think, because I got it. I had to think for like a few seconds, but I got it. So
Yeah,
cheers, Meenakshi, for the perfect dad joke. All right. So getting back to it. This is really interesting, man, because I'm just talking from my own experience recently. And sometimes it takes years to open up your mind to a quantum leap. I just did a quantum leap, like the bamboo, but maybe it came from 10 years of work that I've done, and then I just needed a little more to get there, just a little more. So it's not saying that, hey, like tomorrow things can change, but they could, depends on, because sometimes, I don't know, and I'll leave this to you guys. I know Karina's got to go, so we'll do this question to you guys real quick. What do you think is the difference between planting seeds and then cultivate, harvest, consistency, and then sometimes you make a little tweak and you can have a quantum leap? So where do you think the balance lies? Where, because you still got to be consistent at something, but where do you make the tweak? And how much difference does a little tweak make when you're doing the consistent things that you need to be doing anyway? But then sometimes the tweak is just in the mind. Sometimes the tweak is in the heart. Sometimes the tweak is spirituality. What is the tweak for you? Because I know you be tweaking.
Yeah, that is so true. We have been tweaking all this time. Well, what I believe, since spirituality has shaped what I am doing now, is that we sometimes fail to see what unique quality we have, and we try to copy what someone else have just because they are popular, they are earning money, they're famous, they're everything that we want to, which is why we start copying. Though there are ways that you can learn from someone and still protect your authenticity, and that's where the key lies. You build up on your authentic quality, pursue it consistently for long enough until you become that expert who knows this stuff which you have. And once you have that, that's the key. When you have that quantum leap, something that comes naturally to you, which even if somebody else would like to try and copy from you, they will be called your copy, not that you are copying from someone. So, until you have found that idea, which is so unique that even if you tell those 2,000 of millions of people, still there is no one who can do it like you. And that's what big thinking is about. If I tell you that there's something unique in you, there's something that you can do, That's where we kind of shrink our thinking that no, I don't have that quality. And we stop looking for it. And that's where the magic of thinking big lies. Believe in you that I have that. And sometimes you have to think through. Sometimes you have to observe, because everything that you are going through, it's a very unique experience that only you are going through. Nobody else is going through exact same series of experiences that you are going through. And that makes you unique, because every decision that you have taken, every person you have met in your life, that is giving you an imprint, that is giving you a kind of experience that only you own, and that will come once you consciously take it out. Have you ever wondered that why you meet some person randomly who's like triggering you, someone who you did not even like, somebody who's like trying to mess up with your head? We never think about it. We just think that, oh, I did not like that person, I would never would want to see that person. But why do you get that trigger in first place? There's something for you to learn, to experience. And that's exactly what quantum leap can bring to you. When you, each and every experience that you face uniquely, it's trying to teach you something. So you got to dig deeper into your experiences, just sit through, because there's one thing that you have learned so far that you are best at. No matter you see it today or not, others can sometimes see it in you before you can see it. And that's why we need to keep interacting with people. We need to talk. We need to like just talk to people, because it's easier to see a mirror image than to imagine how my face looks like. Probably my nose is slightly broader. That's what we think of. But when somebody is holding a mirror in front of us, we can see very clearly that no, my eyes are so pretty. I have this like very visionary thought process. How do I look? And sometimes we are able to see from perspective of people that we meet.
Yeah, and then it's good to go into, it's good to ask Claude, but at some point, do I trust myself to come up with a good dad joke?
See?
I'm more of like a witty, punchy joke kind of person, Like I'm a rebuttal jokester, that's more my skill.
Go.
You'll say something and then I'll like, punch back something funny.
Okay.
Go. Try, Karina.
Yeah,
Try
okay. Yeah,
something.
Someone has to say something funny first.
Hey, well, so Meenakshi says my nose is slightly broader, and I says slightly.
See, that's just mean, like that's different.
You said punchy, right?
I also said that my eyes are so beautiful.
Come on, let's get with the program, Karina. You said, "Oh, I'm good at this," and now you're like, "Oh, that's not the way." Come on.
You can't just force a joke out of someone. That's like trying to force someone to love you. Like you just let it happen. You just have to let the moment appear, and then you be like, man, I love that person. You identify.
Anhvu, what do you think about this? What do you think? Anhvu is the only married one here in the group, so Anhvu knows more about love, I think. So Anhvu, what do you think?
I always come at the wrong time. I'm like, man, Joe with his spew.
The crazy part is that had nothing to do with the topic of the day. We didn't. This is the only time we mentioned or talked about love.
I was like, I guess it's
Literally
honesty and courage, right?
If you look at the notes, like this was the only time that word was mentioned, and boom, Anhvu just hops on.
Well, the topic is about honesty and courage, right? And I think Karina is just being truly honest, and then Joe here is just trying to push the buttons.
Oh, is that what I'm trying to do? Is that what it is?
Joe is here to push all of our buttons. That's literally the whole point of hopping on here, is to see, what buttons can get pushed today. But I'll kind of leave this last point, and I wanted to mention it because what you had said, Meenakshi, kind of had reminded me of a video that I saw today, and then I do have to hop off after this point. But I watched a video this morning, and it was like, imagine, and you guys might have heard this before, but if not, it was like, imagine that your life was a movie and like you're the main character and somebody is watching you on the screen. What would the viewers be yelling at you to do right now? Like when you're watching a movie and you're like, no, don't go in that door, or like, oh my God, like just turn around, or like, man, like just call her, just call him, or like just say sorry, like there's points in the movies where like we want to tell the main character, hey, like just do this and it'll fix everything. I feel like that's kind of what cultivating the seed is. We all, everyone has a unique talent, ability, like it's God given. We all have, some like an assignment that we're put here, like that's the seed. And we all kind of know a little bit of what it is. Whenever, and this is something I'm gonna start to do whenever I'm like maybe in doubt, or I tell myself, well, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna imagine myself as a movie and be like, what would the audience be screaming at me right now? And like go and do that. And that's the tweak. That's the cultivating of that's the little shift. Because 9 times out of 10, it's just a very small adjustment that you're yelling at the audience to do. Don't turn here, do this, do that. Very, very small, but that small thing changed the whole outcome of, whatever the main character is going through.
Oh, that's good. What if we could imagine this audience? Because most of the time, we're not going to have this audience cheering for us, especially in the beginning when you're first starting something. So, what would it take to imagine this audience cheering for us, as we begin a new journey, as we begin the new process to a new milestone, which is unfamiliar territory.
I do have to hop off, but I would love to love to hear later everyone's response to that. But
Karina, I just do an Irish goodbye. You're that. Bye.
I am notorious.
Mic drop.
Anyone in my family knows me. I am notorious for Irish goodbyes.
It's Karina with the mic drop.
Lucky I announced something. But I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, though.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So for those of us here who matter,
I came just in time then.
so is it possible to imagine that crowd, cheering for us, that audience cheering for us in our toughest time when we need it the most?
Anhvu, we are waiting for you
Oh,
to talk.
well, I'm just thinking because it's like it's an interesting way to see life. Where I'm like, a lot of times when I watch a movie, I never really. I'm just like I'm like an observer. I never really think of like, oh, you should do this, you should do this. But now that you kind of think myself in a movie, I'm like, oh yeah, there are a lot of times when I'm like, wow, how did I survive that challenge? Or wow, how did I overcome that? Right. And I did come from more like a dominantly like parent dominant Asian culture, whereas like everything you do is like don't screw up your life. Why did you get a 98% and not 100% in that test? Right. So it's very hard to kind of like do that encouragement, like, oh, good job. And I even like now I do finance, right? And I get a lot of people that be like, wow, you did such a great job. And internally I'm like, oh no, I could have done better. I could have done better. So I think that's why the thing that Joe said, and even what Karina says, right, is like, yeah, what is it that we would want to say to encourage ourselves? Because I think that's important with honesty and courage, right? Courage is pretty much you have to take that next step to reach a higher point in your life. But honesty is recognizing where you're at now and the goods and the bads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also one thing I just want to add before we go to Meenakshi is like, Anhvu and I are believers, and I'm a beginner. I'm an amateur at this, and Anhvu's super humble about it too. So it's I think like, and I saw a video about this too yesterday where, and then there's a preacher who summed it up perfectly in my eyes and in my opinion, and he says that he wants to get to a point where he's a show of one with an audience of one. And who's the audience? God.
Okay.
Because we can't rely on any, in the Bible it says do not trust. It's like you can't trust any other human being for all of your needs or nothing like that. You can trust people to be who they are. But if you believe in God, then you have something that is ever present. And, even if it's just emotional support, it's there. Like, you don't need to like seek out people for I need validation. No. If you have God, you have like a foundation, a rock, stone, done. But anyways, now to Meenakshi.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. Similar kind of thing that I've learned from my teachers as well, my yoga teachers, about whenever you perform your karma, you always dedicate that to God. You always begin with gratefulness that you get to perform this task. And whatever is the result, good, bad, positive, negative, just stop thinking about the judgment and just do the task as if you're doing it to intent with an intent to dedicate it to God. And that's when you remove any kind of judgment, any negative thoughts. That's when you can perform the task with total devotion. And also what we were talking about earlier about the audience, I was just having this thoughts earlier this morning. I think I woke up with this. Have you ever seen these kind of series which are about serial killers, murderers, and specific series which Dexter, all these are criminals. They are like about to attempt a murder. They are about to kill. Still, we are vouching that, oh no, this person shouldn't get caught. Oh no, now he's in trouble. How do we get out? If somebody's knocking at the door, he's finishing up, cleaning up for the murder. We are like on the edge of our seat that, no, before that door opens, he should clean up that mess. Why does that happen? Inside, we all know whether or not murder isn't justified. He's a psychopath. He's killing innocent women. Why are our empathies with this person? Because we don't want to see people fail no matter what they are doing. And that's exactly what we should be thinking when we imagine an audience, that nobody's there to see you fail, that, oh my God, this person is on stage, he should fail. Your
Wait,
audience is also vouching for you.
that was a mic drop right there. What do you say? We don't want to see people fail, and that's why we have empathy. Oh, that I want to stay there. I feel that's super powerful, Meenakshi. Thank you for that. So, Anhvu, do you have any thoughts on this right here?
About pretty much like we don't want to see people fail. I agree with most of it. I think some people like Joe might want to see certain people fail that makes fun of him. Right? Like not listening, like not making the joke when he demands it. But other than that, I would say we have good humans are made made to be good, right? We're all striving to be good. We all are made, like I believe we're made in God's image and likeness, so we are made good already. So naturally we have the inclination to be good. But then when there's something that happens, that's when we don't want the good for other people, right? We have resentment, or we have anger, or we're jealous of people being more successful than us, right? Then that's where we don't. I think that's when what you say, Meenakshi, is not completely fulfilled. Not because it's wrong, but it's because we have something inside of us that can't accept the fact that we should really love each other and will the good for the other.
And
Yeah, I would just like to add one thing to it. If there are people who are jealous of you or who want you to fail, they are not your audience. Not everyone loves to
Yeah.
watch Dexter, serial killer. Some
Yeah.
people into romantic stuff where there's no tension, everything is going amazing. People are getting married, now they have kids, then their kids
Yeah.
have kids. Some people are into that stuff, but why are you watching this where you know there's tension building up? Because yes, people like that adventure of watching your journey, of doing something adventurous, something really crazy, something like as crazy as watching a psychopath killing people.
Yeah.
So if somebody is actually your audience, then they never, ever want you to fail.
That's true.
yeah, Jim Rohn used to say when he was alive, and in all his recordings, he would say a phrase that I love. It's life is not the passing of time. Life is a collection of extraordinary experiences, their intensity and frequency. So when we think about that, sometimes it's okay to get in trouble and to fail every once in a while. Actually, it's always okay to fail and to get in trouble if we want to live that experience. But I think that, so then, here's a good question for the panel. Where do you think the balance lies between like failing and getting in trouble on purpose because we want to experience something, and failing and getting into trouble that we can't get out of because of ignorance and because of unawareness.
Well, I think a lot of times we start off with failing because we are ignorant, but it's when we continue to fail. That's when it's like we choose not to get out the trouble we're in.
Meenakshi.
Okay. So, you know what? If you are not failing enough, that means you're still in comfort zone. You're attempting something which is way below your bar that you can achieve. Because in order to check my limits, I need to attempt this. If I can't do this, yes, I will lower it. If I go to gym and I try to lift 110 kg today and 110.1 tomorrow, 110 points, these are all I can achieve very easily. But am I performing that level? No, I am capable of lifting 200 pounds today. I can do it right now, but I should be aiming for 400 at least, so that I know where is that middle point that I'm still able to achieve right now. I have to attempt a little higher than what I am doing. And it can lead me into trouble because I don't know. Whenever you enter into something unknown, it will always have some sort of danger, trouble. It will challenge your mindset, and sometimes that failure, it can drag you back into darkness of your own thoughts. Sometimes, that excitement of attempting something where you are anticipating, yes, I am going to win this. You're super confident, and when you don't win, it's really heavy on your heart. It can drag you into self-doubt over again, where at some point of time before the competition, you were like super excited for it, and if you cannot win, then it will take you back. You will have to deal with that rejection, that fear of telling everyone that you failed. But then what? Then that's when you realize that you've got to learn this, and that's where the magic lies. You learn something new.
Here, so to end, I think this will be a good last question based on what Meenakshi said, which I love. So finding that middle ground, that sweet spot of action where you're good enough to do it, but it still gives you a little bit of strain, just enough to push yourself a little bit higher. How do we find that sweet spot where we need to be at performing so we don't give up because it's too hard, and we don't get bored because it's too easy, but it forces us to stretch just enough to keep going and improving. And let's end with this question, and then we'll wrap up.
I think it has to start with a reflection on knowing who you are. You have to really be honest, like, where am I at? What's my weakness? Where are my strengths? Because even just like how Meenakshi say, right? It's like people want to reach a point where they're gonna want to stop doing what they do, like stop making the same mistakes. But I still see people even in, like, I do finance, right? And I see people in their 60s that are still making the same financial mistakes and life mistakes that they've been doing since they were in their 20s. And you're like, why don't they learn their lesson, right? A crazy person is you're doing the same thing over and expecting different results, right? But the thing is, I think it's because it ultimately is they're not honest with themselves, who they're at, what their weaknesses are, and what they need to do to change it.
Damn.
That's it.
Yeah. And I think, how do we find the middle ground that we can attempt comfortably? It's just by trial and error. This is the point where things get comfortable. You have to take that, jumping into fire step. Attempt something that scares shit out of you. Attempt something that you wouldn't do ideally. Here you need to jump. Here you need to think big. Here you need to play with fire. Because if you fail, then only you will know that I need to lower that, weight a little bit. And if you still aren't able to perform, then you know that I've attempted this much. What worse can go? I will fail. But anyways, you'll still attempt that slightly lower bar for yourself. And that's when you know what is achievable for you now, and just work hard for the thing that you failed for. And that's exactly how we expand our thinking, expand what we are doing right now.
And now we're back full circle, because we began this conversation with the following phrase. There was a video I watched recently, and they were talking about I think let me try to go back to the beginning. So honesty and courage. Oh, so the balance between learning and action, and then finding the balance is like, because sometimes we got to take action, but we're afraid, and then if we do take action and we take too much action, but we don't reflect, then we burn out. So but if we reflect too much, and there's such a thing as escapism through spirituality, where you just like reflect, and then you don't do anything, and then you're praying and you're meditating and you da, 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 but you don't do nothing. And then so that balance right there, it takes courage and it takes honesty to really make the machine work. So that's full circle to the beginning. I would like last words, and then we will continue on our day.
I will do the opposite. I'll end my day.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I'll let Anhvu go first if he like.
Well, can I just say, bam? No, that's true. And I think it's very important to also have the understanding of like ultimately too, there's a lot of things that we can't control. We can try our best and do everything we can in our power, but the rest was it try our best, let God do the rest, right? So it's kind of like one of those things too, is like no matter what I do, there'll be good and challenges, there'll be my potentials and my lack and weaknesses, but I still have to trust that someone's gonna take care of it. Someone's gonna take care of it.
Try our best, let God do the rest. That hit me in the stomach.
Yeah, and what I found today is that, keep building those failure logs for yourself. If you have this failure log, then you will know what you have attempted, what are the challenges. Reflect on your failures. If you're like succeeding, don't wear those medals on your body that these are my trophies, these are my achievements. That's where you will be stuck in comfort zone. So just don't sleep on your laurels. Keep attempting something that scares you, and create that failure log so that you know what you need to learn. You don't have to learn everything. There's like huge information overload that we are going through right now. So don't just bombard yourself with a lot of information, because if that happens, it's not going to be useful. It's going to be even more conscious form of suffering for you. That you know everything, still you're not moving the needle. You're not doing anything which is useful for you, which is being productive. I would say start collecting your failures.
Whoa.
Flashback.
Right now I sound like a homeless person because they be yelling out here in the downtown area. They just be yelling. Whoa. All right. If we were to end it with one phrase, just one phrase only, then what would that be for you? Like if you were to give yourself one phrase of advice, from this conversation to end it, what would it be?
I
I
don't
had a
know.
little.
I had. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just had a little random. I was like, oh, I don't know. Let me make it one creative. ABC. Always be cool.
Nice. I like that. I don't know. When you said that, close with one phrase, I thought of skydiving. I don't know why. So, skydiving is scary just once. After that, it's going to become comfortable. So find something as scary as skydiving, but worth experiencing.
Okay. See, for me, it's the opposite, because for me, it's like doing the boring stuff like taxes,
Yeah. Yeah. It will definitely work for you. Your Vata energy needs some
Yeah,
grounding.
it's scary, but it's not exciting. It's like,
Yeah.
nah. It's like- so for me, it'll be, I think learn to trust that it will happen with intention.
Yeah. And keep doing the boring stuff.
Yeah, the taxes will manifest. They will manifest themselves, and then
Yeah. Think of bigger number in paying taxes. That's what is going to attract you wealth. That one day I will pay $1 million in taxes.
yes,
But I'll be making trillions of dollars, right?
yes, let's go. So, all right, you guys. Well, Thank you so much for joining, for being a part of this. Super grateful for you guys being a part of this with me. And, you know, I guess go about your day, and then for Meenakshi, go about to your dreams. And then, yeah, and then maybe when you're in your dreams, maybe think about being in a hyperbolic time chamber, you know, where you can train your mind, and then tomorrow when you wake up, you're like 1,000 times wiser and stronger.
Maybe I'll get wings and then I can fly.
Yeah.
Maybe Josiah needs to go back to sleep too.
Yeah, maybe he's talking to us in sleep. He's like in what do you call it? Inception kind of a dream.
Oh yeah,
Dream.
Inception.
Maybe all of us are in Joe's dream.
We're in Joe's dream. We're not real.
You're not real. We're in a dream within a dream within a dream.
Maybe.
Guys, we'll talk next time.
All right, see you guys next time.
When we wake up.
When we wake up.
Welcome to the Zoom food.
Yeah. Step in, wipe your feet, this a focus zone. White belt tied tight, but my mind fully grown. Bow to the moment, sensei say be here. I silence the noise, make the vision real clear. Phone face down, I don't scroll, I don't slip. While they thumb through distractions, I sharpen the grip. One target, one flame, let it burn in the